All right. Greetings in the name of Jesus Christ. I have some news and some updates for you guys. Some of these might be a little bit shocking. Some of y'all may have already heard about these. I think I've got 5 different subjects to talk about. And obviously, it's not everything that's going on out there, but it does touch on things that we're looking at, watching for, and going on right now. The first one is going to be about the third temple. The Jewish people rarely study the book of Daniel because many rabbinic Jews were misled attempting to interpret Daniel's cryptic times. Some were led so far astray that they came to believe in false messiahs, and therefore Talmudic Jews frowned on students who studied Daniel with a view of finding out the time of the Messiah. However, religious Jews knew that this book revealed more about Messiah than any other book. Did you hear what was said in there? These were the Orthodox, Rabbinic, Talmudic Jews that don't want people reading the book of Daniel because when they read the book of Daniel, they realize Jesus Christ already came and they believe in him. So they're trying to stop people from doing that so they don't go and end up believing in Jesus Christ and actually get saved and realize that their Messiah has already come. It also takes a lot of their power over these people away. But that's what this was saying. That's funny. It's ironic. But they know that most of their prophecy pertaining to the Messiah they're looking for is in Daniel, and a lot of it's in Isaiah, and there's some in Psalms and Proverbs. Friedland, like Cohn, overcame his fears of uncertainties and looked into the interpretation of this mysterious passage. What did the two men discover? Fact 1, the Messiah's appearance was locked into a fixed time. Fact 2, I'm sorry, this isn't about the temple, this is about the coming Messiah. Fact 2, the fixed time was while the second temple was still standing. Fact 3, the Messiah had to come from a specific lineage that was only verifiable through the temple records. And the fourth startling fact is that the Messiah had to die a violent death. The details of these facts together present some of the strongest evidence that he has, in fact, already come. Now, we all know this, but there's a lot of them people over there that they refuse to believe that he had already come. And that's that Pharisee and Sadducee spirit because they denied that Jesus back then was the Christ. As we know differently because we read the Bible. But it's surprising when you really do an in-depth study into prophecy pertaining to Jesus. It's surprising where these prophecies are in the Bible and how old some of them are. In my previous video that I'm uploading now, there's a guy that talks about some passages in Psalms, I think, and those were written, and they specifically relate to Jesus and his crucifixion. They were written 1,000 years before Jesus was ever born. Stunning. Fact 1, the Messiah's appearance was locked into a fixed time. Ever hear the parental refrain, you'll get your answers when the Messiah comes? And to the response, when will the Messiah come, Dad? The answer is, who knows? But we can know the answer in detail. It is in the book of Daniel. This prophet who lived during the time of our exile in Babylon received a vision that the Messiah would come 483 years after the command to restore Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. That's contained within the 70-week prophecy. That from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again and the wall even in troublesome times. That's Daniel 9:25. The clock on these 69 weeks, units of 7 years, began ticking when Artaxerxes issued a decree to Nehemiah to rebuild the temple and restore the holy city of Jerusalem. See Nehemiah 2, 1-8. While other decrees went forth, this was the only one that involved both the temple and Jerusalem. History records this took place in Nisan, which is March-April timeframe, because it's a lunar calendar, of 444 BC. That would mean the Messiah would appear by 33 CE. History does not record anyone other than Yeshua who was from that time period and claimed to be the Messiah. That's one point a lot of people miss and a lot of people don't know about. Because we have Messiahs that pop up all the time. Like our day and age, I think there's currently 15 people, maybe more, that are claiming to be Jesus right now. Back then, he was the only one. There was no one else. Fact 2, the second temple would still be standing when Messiah came. Daniel predicted that after the appearance of Messiah, the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. That's in verse 26. We know that occurred when Titus, Roman legions, marched on Jerusalem in 70 CE, destroying both the city and the temple. The Talmud teaches that at that time people believed that the Messiah had already come, but his appearance was concealed from the Jews until they were rendered more worthy of his appearance. So you see the deception that's going on that end over there. Because if suddenly everybody believed that Jesus would come, there's no reason to build a third temple. So prophecy has to be fulfilled concerning the end times. So there has to be a group of people who will deny him and believe he is still coming, because the Antichrist has to come, he has to do his thing and all that kind of stuff. And we need some form of temple there in order for that to be fulfilled. Other passages support the understanding that Messiah would come while the temple was still standing. For example, the rabbis recognized that Psalm 118 would be sung to the Messiah when he arrived. Save now, I pray, O Lord, O Lord. I pray, send now prosperity. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. We have blessed you from the house of the Lord. That's 118, verse 25-26. The only way that they could bless the Messiah from the house of the Lord was if the temple was still standing. Now you know one of the driving forces behind them wanting so badly to build that temple. Because in their mind, the only way we'll have peace in the world is if that temple's built. And that's what they're trying to convince all these other countries to get them to sign on. Haggai, who was in Jerusalem as the second temple was being built, made the messianic prediction that the glory of this last temple is to be greater than that of the first. That's in Haggai 2:9. And Malachi confirmed it. Then suddenly the Lord you are seeking will come to this temple. The messenger of the covenant whom you desire will come. That's in Malachi 3:1. 12th century Jewish scholar Rabbi David Kimchi referred to the Malachi verse saying, the Lord, the angel of the covenant, is the Messiah. According to Daniel, the temple would not only be standing at Messiah's appearance, but it would then soon be destroyed. That temple, the second temple, which was originally built by Ezra, and you can read about that in the book of Ezra, and it's striking some of the similarities between what happened then and what we saw starting in December 10th of last year, when they dedicated the altar. So you get a chance, go into Ezra and go read, and you'll find, I'm not 100% sure where it is, but go read where it talks about that and what they did, a series of events, and what we saw starting December 10th of last year. Kind of puts a lot of it in perspective. The second temple was originally built by Ezra and beautified by Herod, was where Yeshua did most of his teaching and made startling claims for himself. The New Testament records the painful words of Jesus to those who spoke of how beautiful the temple looked after its refurbishing under Herod. These things which you see, the days will come in which not one stone shall be left here upon another that shall not be thrown down. Was Jesus pointing to Daniel's prophecy being fulfilled? Less than 40 years later, the destruction of the temple was so thorough that to this day, the exact location of the sanctuary is unknown. In my presentation I did at our men's meeting last Friday, I pointed some things out about the stones. When you look at the Western Wall, 3/4 of the Western Wall is Herodian stone, done by Herodian stonemasons, where they went in and they made adjustments and they made the temple look better. And a lot of them are even carved with the masons' names. And under that wall, because they have a tunnel that you can walk down to where the wall hits bedrock, and it's all the same stone. You can see all the lifting points and everything where it was to be put in place. Lots more detail down there. They found a coin sitting under one of the stones at the bedrock level, and when they took it out and they checked it, the coin had the face and the inscription of one of Herod's advisors. So that really put that into a time frame. But when you go look at those stones and then look at where there's a bunch of damage over by the elevated walkway that goes up to the Temple Mount, go look at all that over there, because that's where the big pile of stones was. That actually shows you where the actual temple was. It was not on the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount is Fort Antonia. They think Fort Antonia is 4 little towers on the far end, up on the north side of it. But that's not it. That whole thing was Fort Antonia, because the 10th Legion was there. It was over 10,000 troops plus logistics. And if you ever have any military background and you understand how logistics works, you've got people for supply, food, taking care of horses, taking care of armament, all that kind of stuff. You have tons of other people. So they're looking at roughly 10,500 people possibly were in that fort. Well, that little bitty temple they got down there won't hold that. It had to be that place over there where that many people could hang out. So the temple, when you look at the location, the temple was actually 600 yards past the south end of the Temple Mount, what they call the Temple Mount today. That's the real location of it. And they've since found that, but the Jews won't accept it. The Jews' big problem is they don't want that mosque up there. They want to get that mosque down and get rid of it. Fact 3, the Messiah's lineage could only be identifiable while the temple stood. The coming of the Messiah had another time constraint. It was connected to his descent from the tribe of Judah. Genesis 49:10, a well-recognized messianic prophecy, indicated that Judah was to retain its identity until Shiloh, one of the names for the Messiah, was to come. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. And to him shall be the obedience of the people. That's in Genesis 49:10. According to the book of Ezra 1, 5 through 8, Judah's position was maintained throughout the 70-year captivity in Babylon. It was also intact back in the land until the Romans made the kingdom of Judah a Roman province. At that time, the Sanhedrin was stripped of its authority and, according to Josephus, they, the members of their Sanhedrin, covered their heads with ashes and their bodies with sackcloth, exclaiming, "Woe unto us, for the scepter has departed from Judah, and the Messiah has not come." While there was a provincial government in place, about 50 years later in 70 CE, that too ended. Not only was the Messiah to be from the lineage of Judah, but more specifically from the house of David. I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn to my servant David, your seed I will establish forever, and build up your throne to all generations. This messianic prophecy clearly refers to the descendant of David. Proof of such lineage was destroyed when the temple was sacked. And while we do not have the temple records, we do have the record of Yeshua's family tree in the accounts of his life by both Luke and Matthew. They both identify that he is from the house of David. We don't know anyone else who lived at that time and claimed to be the Messiah, who is descended from the tribe of Judah and in the house of David, apart from Yeshua. Did you know that Josephus, in his writings, he was there, he witnessed the crucifixion of Jesus, and he describes it in pretty good detail. But we have a lot of witnesses that witnessed these events, witnessed what Jesus did, witnessed what he taught, that weren't Christian and never became Christian. These are extra biblical texts. Right now that I know of, there's over 24,000 different scrolls and writings they have pertaining to what went on back then. That's not counting what's been the last 2,000 years. Fact 4, the Messiah was to be cut off. The Daniel prophecy, verse 26, says that after the 7 weeks and 62 weeks, the Messiah would be cut off, but not for himself. This phrase, cut off, meant to be killed or die a violent death. Some of the Talmudic rabbis understood this, and Daniel is delivered to us the end, the time of his appearance and death, of the Mashiach, or Messiah. The idea that the Messiah would die was not new to Judaism. Isaiah wrote of one who would suffer and die for the sins of the people, for he was cut off from the land of the living. For the transgressions of my people, he was stricken. Psalms 22 graphically portrays, that's the psalm, graphically portrays death by crucifixion, a method of execution not known to the psalmist, writing 1,000 years before Yeshua was crucified. So, because they had just came up with crucifixion. It was a brand new way of punishment that the Romans had come up with at that time when Jesus was on the earth. 1,000 years before him, that unknown. I don't even think they even had much in the way of how they would torture people or punish them. So they didn't know anything about it, yet he's describing it to a T. Could it have happened just as Daniel said, so carefully predicted? Counting 483 years after Artaxerxes' decree would bring us to 33 CE. The temple was destroyed in 70 CE. That leaves a window of 37 years in which the Messiah from the tribe of Judah and the house of David would come. Not only that, but he was to die a violent death at that time. Who do we know that fulfilled? Because there's over 300 prophecies involving Jesus. But when you break them all down and condense them by taking a lot of the same mentions and bring them, it's 109. And his life and death fulfilled all 109 of them. Postscript on the rabbi. After studying these scriptures, Rabbi Cohn was brave enough to open up a copy of the New Testament in Hebrew. He started at the beginning in Matthew and began reading the genealogy of Jesus. This is the book of the generation of Yeshua the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. He read for some 13 hours and later wrote down his reflections. Quote, I could at last see that the Messiah's name was Yeshua, that he was born in Bethlehem of Judah, that he had lived in Jerusalem and communicated with my people, and that he came just at the time predicted in the prophecy of Daniel. Cohn's conflict was not over at that point. Like most Jews, the idea of believing in the same Messiah that the Gentiles worship was very unsettling. But he went back into the Hebrew scriptures, reading the Isaiah 53 passage about the Messiah who was to die for his people. Then as he began to pray, he accidentally dropped the Bible he was holding, and it fell open to the 3rd chapter of Malachi, which begins with the prophecy of the angel of the covenant who comes to the temple. The first verse ends with the words, "Behold, he has already come, saith the Lord of hosts." The rabbi could no longer deny that Yeshua was the one who had already come. He met all the criteria in Daniel's prophecy. He met all the criteria in Isaiah 53 prophecy and in Malachi as well. Cohn's search was over. And we know from other articles and other interviews that Rabbi Cohn had become a Christian. He now goes to Jerusalem and stands around the Western Wall and other areas, especially the Western Wall, and talks to rabbis and shows them the truth. And that has been his ministry, and that is his mission. He has videos on YouTube where he goes and he leads other rabbis to Christ and shows them that Jesus, in fact, did come almost 2,000 years ago, 1930 some odd years ago, and fulfilled everything that was prophesied about him. And he regularly saves more and more Jewish people and more rabbis. And it is a great thing. Some final question. God promised the Jewish people a Messiah. And he gave us he gave us, my mustache is too big. And he gave us a precise way of computing the time of Messiah's coming. Why are so many reluctant to find out where those computations lead? Are we more comfortable with ambiguity? Think about it. If Daniel is right and the Messiah came before the destruction of the Second Temple, that means that our rabbis have been wrong for 2,000 years. Yup. If Daniel is right and the Messiah came before 70 CE, that means we have to admit that Messiah has already come. And if he's already come, then he will have to deal with him as the one who has come. That leaves very little wiggle room, an uneasy state of being for the most of us. Not this cat, not you guys. We know. We have known. Maybe that's why some might choose to be agnostics. Maybe that's why some might not want to know that God exists, because such knowledge would make a claim on their lives. That's called conviction. Could that be why many people are satisfied to allow the notion of God to remain a vague feeling until such time as they see a need for him? Those are fence riders. These are people who lack faith, but they're looking to see who's going to be the winning team, and that's where they're going to jump off at. However, our vague feelings about God do not mean that God is a vague being. What if he really has communicated to us in very specific ways? Leopold Cohn of Rockmill, Friedland, believed God did communicate specifically. They ventured to follow the biblical clues to their logical conclusion, and once they did, they couldn't turn back. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. How many are brave enough today to consider such choices? And there's a ton of references here for books. Now, what I'm trying to find out more on is I'm trying to find more on the coming Messiah, who we know as the Antichrist. Here's what I've discovered so far. We know there was a prediction that went out of, we're waiting for the Messiah to come. We want Mashiach to come. We need to build a temple so Mashiach will come. Then, just recently, they started putting out information about he's coming on Purim. He's coming between Purim and the elections. He's coming on the elections. Now nothing. There's no word. Hasn't been a word for weeks. Now several have stepped up, and one of them I did some videos on, Rael, idiot, and all the people that follow him were stupid. But they did their own little ceremony claiming that was, but yet nobody was there other than them. So, but nothing else has come up and nothing else has happened to point to, here's a guy that has stepped forward and claimed to be Messiah. Now, in their mind, they were thinking, and I did a video talking about this, they had the idea that, then they said there was two Messiahs, that he was going to walk out from the north and come in and gather the people of Israel to him. And then the battle was going to happen, which I'm assuming was going to be the Ezekiel 38 war. And he was going to win, but he was going to die. Then the actual Messiah was going to come and resurrect him. And they too were going to work together. Now, that type of prophecy or that type of explanation will support the Arabs' Mahdi coming, because they said he's going to be this first one is going to be a man of war. The second one will be a man of peace. So the Mahdi is described as a man of war. So I don't know if the Jews actually made this up to make them happy to help further getting the temple built, or if it's actually going to be two, and the Mahdi is going to end up being one of the beasts, where the Messiah for the Jews is going to be the actual Antichrist. One point I want to make on this, and I'm still doing a lot of researching, trying to find any new information on if anybody has stepped forward. I personally, and this is my opinion, from the evidence I've looked at, still think Kushner's still at the top of my list. This dude fits very, very closely to the description of what the Bible gives, and even to what their writings give. And right now, if you look behind the scenes, Kushner's coming up in power and strength. He's rising up. Kushner was probably the main reason why Trump got elected. He did his entire campaign. Kushner is the architect for the peace deal. He has built it, assembled it, adjusted it, changed it, gone out to all the countries and talked to them, done all the deals, worked everything out, and what they did, they just slapped Trump's name on it to make it look good because Trump's president. That's Kushner's deal, guys. 100% that's Kushner's deal. Trump is on record in openly on camera saying if anybody can get peace in the Mideast, it's him, and pointed to Kushner. So, and a lot of people are talking about Obama, a lot of people are talking about Macron. You know what? I think these guys are players in the game. But Kushner really fits that profile. The Kushner name, because, the Antichrist is going to have to be somebody everybody's going to look up to. The Kushner name comes from a little town. I did a video on this, just right at the border of Poland. That's within the old Roman Empire and the soon coming up Roman Empire. So that's fulfilled. It says in there he's not a lover of women, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's gay. Because it could be that, like, there's a lot of women that marry husbands, and the husbands have no natural love for their causes or their issues or their feelings, yet they're still married to them. And they're heterosexual. And to me, that's what that means. He's not a lover of women. He doesn't care about what your cause is. You're going to do this my way, and that's it. A lot of people I'm noticing all of a sudden, because I started months ago, back at the beginning of the year, telling people about Kushner, saying, look, this is what I'm seeing, guys. I did research on this, and that I think, is our guy. He's at the top of my list right now. And now, all of a sudden, just this last couple weeks, I see people starting to pop up saying, there's something about Kushner I do not like. Something wrong with his eyes. Something, it just creeps me out. And a lot of people are starting to see this. I'm telling you guys, it's a high probability he's the guy. Because if you got to think how Satan works, Satan's sneaky. Satan will give you several people out there to watch and to look at and go, ooh, that's the Messiah, like Obama. And then he'll take the guy and sneak the guy in to do what he needs to do. And then, boop, there he is. He'll just pop up. So the way things are playing out are working out perfectly. Kushners have been longtime friends of Netanyahu, longtime friends of Israel. Kushner himself is an Orthodox Jew, and now his wife, which is Trump's daughter, is now a Messianic Jew, or Orthodox Jew, I'm sorry. They are fighting for the Jewish causes. He's a member of the Chabad. Go look up what the Chabad is. They're the ones pushing the Talmud and the Noahide laws. And he is a card-carrying member of that group. He's tall, because they said he's going to have a high stature. He's tall. I mean, when you start looking at the details and then look at Kushner, way more pieces fit him than they do these other guys. And, ironically, he has a peace deal. And here's the secret behind the peace deal. Everybody's going off half-cocked about this thing, saying, no, they must confirm it, and it must be strengthened, and that's how we'll know who the Antichrist is. Please understand, they're not presenting a peace plan that's going to get rejected, because that makes them look bad. They're getting everything pre-signed. They're getting all these countries on board. They only have Iran and Palestine that are fighting against them at the moment. And they're working on them. But when they get all the signatures on it, then when they present it, they're not made a fool of by somebody going, I'm not signing this. They've already signed it. They've already agreed with it. So what does that make that when they present it? A confirmation. We are confirming that we have signed this, and then the final signature will go across the bottom, which will be Trump's and probably Netanyahu's. And that'll be sealing the deal. Right now, because they extended that release date out, right now they're strengthening this plan. They're building this plan up to make everybody happy and to fit in all the pieces that everybody wants. So they're strengthening the deal. So the prophecies about this are being fulfilled literally as we speak. And if they hold true to what they're saying, between now and June 4th, that thing's going to get released. I'm just pointing out details, guys, to let you know what's going on. But as soon as I can find out more about whoever this Messiah is supposed to step up, I'll put it out there. But I'm watching Kushner close because I'm really thinking he's our guy. But anyway, that's just me. Now, one of the reasons why they may be waiting until after to June 4th, after their fasting, is they may think that, or they may be getting ready to present their Mahdi, and they're going to do that after that fasting. Who knows? We'll see. Okay. Now we're going to get into breaking Israel news. Trump gives Purim miracle to Israel, the golden recognition. This was kind of innocuous, and a lot of people looked at it on its outside implications, but didn't look at it on its inside implications. Mike Pompeo, Donald Trump, and Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu, all three know for sure what they're doing. They are very aware of the actions being taken and where they're going to lead. Pompeo has admitted it, Trump has admitted it, and Netanyahu has admitted it. Most people don't get to see those interviews where they admit this on camera because they take those and they bury them deep down somewhere and you got to go find them. I have to do all kinds of deep searching in order to find this stuff because it's buried way down deep. But these guys all know exactly what's going on and what they're doing and what role they're playing in fulfilling these Bible prophecies. Have you ever noticed, a little less than a year after Trump became president, he carries a Bible everywhere he goes? When you see him and watch where he's coming out, watch his hands. Watch the podium. He either has it on the podium already or he carries it out with him and lays it on the podium. Trump's Purim declaration recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan solidifies his role as King Cyrus, reloaded, but the biblical comparison comes with many disclaimers. And something I want to point out is if you go and look about King Cyrus only ruled for 3 years and some days. I'm paying close attention to what's going on with Trump because he's approaching that time frame. And I hope and I pray nothing happens, but I hope and pray nobody tries to take him out to make it so he's more like Trump, like Cyrus. We have crazy people in this world that would do that. Countdown to the red heifer. After years of hard work and preparation, the rabbi charged with overseeing the red heifer claims that this biblical commandment is on the verge of appearing. This was March 6th of this year. This has since been fulfilled. Rabbi Azariah Ariel goes on record explaining how the return of this ritual of purification will and will not change our lives. What they do is they burn them down, get all the ashes, mix it with water, and this is how they purify the temple, the instruments. They'll purify the people and put some ashes on them, stuff like that. And they want to do the whole nation. So they want a fully grown cow. And she must be without yoke, born in Israel, and can have no more than 3 white hairs anywhere on the body. And there was one other thing. Oh, it has to be between 2 and 3 years old. Currently, they now have a heifer that's ready to go. And they've had 2 more heifers born since. One is close, I think another year, and then another one will follow right behind that. They also have their olive harvest ready, because if you look at how their harvest procedures go, the commandment in the Bible is the first 2 years, you don't touch. Let that crop go. The 3rd year, that crop is gathered and offered as first fruits to the Lord. After that, it goes to the people. They have an orchard, and lots of different orchards grown specifically for this, and fields grown for the temple, and they have an olive harvest ready for that purified olive oil to be used in temple ceremonies. So they're prepared. Ask Rabbi Tully, when will the 3rd temple be built? Great philosophers have long debated the age-old question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? The Jews have had a similar ancient argument. Will the 3rd temple be built before the Messiah arrives, or will it be built after his arrival? And that's actually, you can go find that article. That was a March 1st article. You can get that one pretty easy on Breaking Israeli News, and I think Jerusalem Times has it too. Israeli Rabbi, this is January 9th of this year. Israeli Rabbi, the spirit of Mashiach is here. Breaking Israel News recently spoke with Jerusalem-born Rabbi Dior Casuto, founder of the Imuna Project, an online program that teaches the universal message of having faith in God. I'm not going in depth into these because the video is already going to be a little long. I'm trying to hit highlights. 5 biblical prophecies fulfilled in 2018 and 5 expected in 2019. The signs clearly say that so many rabbis and experts have confirmed that we are living in prophetic times preceding the Messiah. 2018 saw a host of end of days events and predictions actualized. In January, snow fell on the Sahara, the world's hottest desert, paralleling prophecies of Isaiah. And it talks about May with Trump, but you can go and you can read that one a little deeper. So this is all in breaking Israeli news. Just do a search for it. Photo spread, dedication of altar for third temple. This is what I was talking about earlier. When you read in the book of Ezra, when they started doing that, the very first thing they did, before they did anything else, was set up the altar, dedicate it, and sacrifice on it. A stone altar specially prepared to be used to jumpstart the third temple was consecrated in a reenactment of the daily service on December 10th, 2018, the last day of Hanukkah. And they invited 70 nations to come and enjoy that with them. They have since, on Passover, they did, that I know of, 2 different lamb sacrifices and practice ceremonies. And on Passover did an actual ceremony and then gave the meat out to everybody around there. So they have now started animal sacrifice. They have their altar and they have everything needed. There's a group of women who are sewing up the veil for the Holy of Holies, and they're almost finished with that. So everything's prepared. Netanyahu holding the keys for the Messiah. A rift in the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu-led coalition may lead to new elections, leading some to worry, while others note this development may have been predicted many times over as a precursor to better, much more messianic times. A point to note is that when the election was very close in Israel, and Netanyahu has had to drop some people off of his government. He has, the name starts with a K, and for the life of me, I can't remember it. But he's building that government up. They suspect that at the beginning of June, he'll have that government built. So you see alignments of things going on right here with that peace deal. For the first time since Second Temple, golden vessel used in libation ceremony. That was September 30th, 2018. I want to point something out that in 2017, a cave was found. And before that, they found stuff too, but this cave was found. Based on copper scrolls and other scrolls that they have from the Dead Sea, they have found a treasure map, basically. And it tells where all this stuff is hidden, and it tells where the original tabernacle of David is at, the one Moses made. And they've gone in. I haven't found any information saying that they did find it, but some sources are saying, yes, they found it, and they have it in a secret location, restoring it. In lieu of the temple, they could set this up and start doing their worship. It's a high probability this could happen. And if that's the case, they can put it anywhere they want to. So they even have a mock one set up out by Mount Hermon. They have a mock tabernacle set up, life-size. So this could happen. If they have the actual one, this could happen. But in there, they found a lot of vessels from the Second Temple. They found little things of oil, of red heifer ashes, 900 pounds of incense, dyes, all kinds of stuff. Stuff that they were missing, they now have. So everything's ready. Literally, when they get permission, they're going to start breaking ground the next morning, if not that night. Hands-on reenactment of temple bread breaking in biblical Israel. This was August 23rd last year. So you see all the pieces are coming together. The harps, they now play the harps. They bring them out, I think, once or twice a year and play them outside. The prophetic sound of David's harp is heard once again in Jerusalem. When the third temple is rebuilt, these biblical harps will return once again to be used in Jewish worship. They take them out and play them every year now. Here's a first fruit ceremony reenacted overlooking Temple Mount. That was on May 22nd of last year. So you see what's going on. You see where we're at. It's all coming together, every bit of it. And I can go on and on. There's so much that has happened, especially from the end of 2017 to now. So much stuff has gone on. So many things have happened. We have the Revelation 12 sign. Then here just recently they found M87, and they say it's a picture of a black hole. Well, guess where it's located in the night sky? Right next to the right shoulder of Libra, or Virgo, I'm sorry. So that's kind of weird that they would find that, and that's where it's at in the night sky. All right, let's go into volcanoes. Let's see here. The Shavluch, or what is it, Kamchatka. There's explosive activity in this volcano. Tokyo warned about a volcanic ash plume that rose up to an estimated 13,000 feet. And it's moving east or southeast at 10 knots. When was that? Well, that's April 27th this year. April 26th, Bromo in Indonesia. It's out in East Java. Explosive activity there, volcanic ash there. 10,000 feet is where it's at, and it's moving northeast 5 knots. April 25th, Sakurajima. It's Kyushu, Japan. Lots of ash. But there was an explosion reported. I can't read all the stuff they got there. But they had a big explosion reported there. 24th of April in Kamchatka, it's the Klyuchevskoy volcano. Explosive activity, volcanic ash, 17,000 feet, moving north at 20 knots. And this is all Ring of Fire stuff and other places, mainly Ring of Fire. Then we have on April 23rd, I'm not going to hit all of them, just a few. The same volcano did another belch and shot a bunch of ash up in the air, and they're saying that there's something going on with the satellite imagery. They can't see certain things because of it. April 22nd, same one, blew up again, more ash, 20,000 feet, moving east at 10 knots. And the 21st, same volcano, blew up again, 18,000 foot ash plume, east at 15 knots. April 20th, the Shivaluch, another big explosion, ash, 13,000 feet, moving east at 25 knots. Stromboli, Italy, on the 19th. Right now it's pretty stable, fluctuating between low and moderate levels. There was an explosion, several explosions of few minute intervals from vents at the crater terrace. And then they got some few videos and stuff on that on there too. So we see we still got a lot of activity, and that's not even all of it. They figure there's about 50 volcanoes currently that are still have some form of activity in them. They're blowing smoke, blowing ash, or blowing lava. Oops. All right, earthquakes. Let's take a look at the latest earthquakes. And this is one day, magnitude 2.5 and up. Venezuela had a 5.0. Austin, Nevada, 4.0. Port Olroy, Vanuatu, 4.8. We know that volcano's erupting. Craig, Alaska, 2.8. You know, Craig, Alaska, or up in Alaska after that big one they had, they're still having aftershocks from that thing, and they haven't stopped. Coquimbo, Chile, 4.0. Vanuatu again, 5.0. Marcona, Peru, 4.4. Vinton, California, 2.6. Ligua, Chile, 4.6. Otrabanda, Dominican Republic, 3.1. In Papua New Guinea, 5.1. Another one in Chile, 4.7. Honduras, 5.1. Philippines, 4.6. Philippines, 4.6. Philippines, 4.8. Philippines, 4.7. Austin, Nevada, 2.9. And keep in mind, this is all in one day. This is all on the 28th. East Timor, 4.3. Hawaii, 4.2. Chile, 4.2. Puerto Rico, 2.5. China, 4.1. Alaska, 4.0. That was Anchorage. Russia, 4.5. Russia, 4.6. Russia, 4.5. Tonga, 5.1. Russia, 4.2. Greece, 4.3. There's a volcano there. Chile, 4.0. Dominican Republic, 3.1. China, 5.1. Kuril Islands, 4.5. And Phillipsburg, Montana, 2.6. So you can see this is just one day, and that's not even all of them. It's just 2.5 and above. It's not counting the ones below that. So still tons of activity. Mass animal deaths for 2019. I did a video quite a while back, 2 months ago, I think, where I showed mass animal deaths compared to 2017, 2018, and 2019. And then a lot of the numbers were given in tonnage, not individual numbers. It's actually pretty surprising how much there has been. Let's see. So some say this is all a mystery. Some say it's natural dial. Some say it's chemtrails. Some say Fukushima, man's pollution, God's judgment. The thing was, it was all prophesied to happen in the Bible. In Hosea 4:1-3, hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, no mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood toucheth blood. Therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Zephaniah 1:2-3, I will utterly consume all things from off the land, saith the Lord. I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of the heaven and the fishes of the sea and the stumbling blocks of the wicked, and I will cut off man from off his land, saith the Lord. In Revelations 11:18, this one hits a little closer to our time now. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints and them that fear thy name, shall small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. March 2019, 500 million bees have died during past 3 months in just 4 states in Brazil. They're thinking there's going to be a collapse of their agriculture because of this. 500 million just in 4 states in Brazil. That's not worldwide. That's amazing. That's one country. And I remember in a recent or a few past video, I told you guys about the wildflowers. And I told you I see butterflies, but I haven't seen a single bee. Not even one. I sat out yesterday and was looking out into some flowers and just watching them. Not one single bee flew around out there. And I haven't seen any in my yard, nothing. This is actually pretty scary because we need bees really bad. Now, keep in mind, not every incident is reported here because of room and time constraints. But we're going to hit on some that are more relevant to right now. This is going to be bad. 23rd April, 28 plus hippos found dead, cause unknown in Ethiopia. 22nd April, 23 turtles and 13 dolphins found dead in Mississippi. 21st April, hundreds of fish found in a canal in Guyana. 21st April, 3 dead whales found in San Quentin, Mexico. 20th April, mass die-off of fish in Brazil. It doesn't give the amount. 17th April, hundreds of fish dead in Freiburg, Switzerland. 15th of April, school of fish washes up in the lagoon in San Pedro, Brazil. Brazil's getting hit a lot. 13th of April, hundreds of dead fish found in Lake Victoria, in Australia. 12th of April, thousands of fish in a river in Michigan. 8th of April, 109 dead sea turtles wash up in Mexico. 8th of April, 15 dead dolphins wash up in Greece. 8th of April, hundreds of dead fish in a lake in Canada, Lake Regina. 6th of April, thousands of dead fish in a creek in Pennsylvania. Thousands of dead fish found in a creek in Pennsylvania. What would make that happen? I mean, somebody could have poured something in there, but still. 2nd of April, 200 plus migratory birds found dead in a lake in India. 2nd of April, hundreds of dead starfish found on a beach on the Isle of Sheppey, England. 2nd of April, thousands of dead fish found in Lake Manitoba, Canada. 2nd of April, 24,500 birds killed due to avian flu in Liaoning Province, China. 2nd of April, tens of thousands of fish die in a river in a province in Thailand. 2nd of April, massive die-off of fish in fish farms in Thailand. 2nd of April, hundreds of dead fish found in a lake in Iowa. 1st of April, 600 plus ducks killed due to avian flu in India. 1st of April, mass die-off of fish in a river in Vietnam. It's Lao Cai province. 31st of March, thousands of cattle dead after a storm in Australia. If you ever gone and seen that one, there's been video reports of that, and it was bad because all of a sudden, massive floods, and the cows had nowhere to go. And when the waters went down, it just dead cows as far as you can see. It was bad. 11.5 million clams wash up in South Africa on the 19th of March. And they have a picture of the beach here, and it's completely covered. Like you can't barely even see the sand. 31st March, thousands of dead fish found in a lake in Brisbane, Australia. 29th of March, 12 turtles found in India. 28th March, mass die-off of krill in British Columbia, Canada. And krill are those little tiny, they're red, you see clouds of them, and whales eat them, whale sharks eat them, baleen sharks eat them, little bitty things. These are key to our, just like bees, krill are key to the health of the ocean. 28 March, 1,100 dead dolphins have washed up in France. 1,100. They said that's over the year of 2019 so far. Yeah, that's 2019 so far. 1,100 dolphins in France. 27th of March, hundreds of turtles wash up in New England, America. 26th March, dozens of sharks wash up dead in New Jersey. 26th March, 2,500 cattle die suddenly, a mystery in Petén, Guatemala. 25th March, thousands of dead fish found in a dam in Sao Paulo, Brazil. 22nd March, thousands of livestock killed in flooding in Nebraska and Iowa. 22nd March, thousands of dead fish found floating in a river in Cleveland, Ohio. 22nd March, 30 turtles in Uruguay. 21st March, hundreds of dead fish in Catalica, Italy. 20th of March, mass die-off of turtles by a strange virus in St. John's River in Florida, America. 20th of March, 4 dead humpback whales wash up in the past 8 weeks along the Carolina coast in America. There's the 11.5 million clams. That was Western Cape, South Africa that happened. 18th of March. Here's where the numbers go crazy. 18th of March, 123 tons of fish die in the Ural River in Kazakhstan. Tons. 18th of March, thousands of dead fish wash up in New Jersey. 18th of March, 28,000 chickens killed due to avian flu in Nepal. 18th of March, thousands of dead fish found floating in the Caboolture River, Australia. 17th of March, 14 dead sharks wash up, a mystery in South Africa. Wow, they actually have a picture of that one. Those are big sharks, too. 17th of March, massive fish kill in the waters of Oceanport, New Jersey. 16th of March, hundreds of dead fish found in a lake in Brazil. 16th of March, 20 dolphins found dead on a coast in Chile. 15th of March, 123 tons of salmon suddenly die in a fish farm in Castro, Chile. 14th of March, 100 dead turtles wash up in Guerrero, Mexico. 14th of March, 10 dolphins wash up dead on the coast in Crimea. 14th of March, 2 dead gray whales wash up in San Francisco Bay. 14th of March, dozens of dead Canadian geese found in British Columbia, Canada. 14th of March, thousands of dead fish wash up in a lagoon in New South Wales. 13th of March, I'm going to stop here in a minute because it's just so many. 13th of March, mass deaths of birds and animals found in a field off the Azov coast in Ukraine. 11th of March, 80 sea turtles wash up dead this year in Brazil. So far this year, up to March 11th, they had 80 sea turtles total. And there's probably been more than that since. 7th of March, hundreds of dead fish washed up in a lake in India. 6th of March, 127 possums found dead along the coast in Victoria, Australia. 4th of March, 1,190 cattle dead due to drought in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. 4th of March, mass die-off of turtles found along a beach along the something coast in India. I can't even try to say that. 3rd of March, 1,000 plus birds killed by a hailstorm in India. 2nd of March, 7,000 chickens killed due to avian flu in Denmark. Wow, they got a picture of that die off a fish in Colombia. 1st of March. I'm going to stop here at 1st of March because after that's February. And it just keeps going and going and going, just tons. So 1st of March, hundreds of dead fish wash up. Never seen this many before in a lake in Sweden. And guys, it just goes on and on. And the tonnage, it's all listed. So much of it's listed in tonnage. On 26th of February, 40 tons of dead fish in a fish farm due to pollution in France. 25th of February, 50 tons of fish and it died in the Pequiri River, Brazil. 23rd of February, 204 sea lions in India. It just goes on and on and on and on. And some of it like same day. 19th of February, 2 tons of dead fish in Uruguay. 18th of February, 600 dead dolphins. They actually have a picture of that too. 600 dead dolphins have washed ashore this year on the beaches in France. So from January 1st to the 18th of February, 600 dolphins died and washed up in France. Wow. 15th of February, 12,000 fish found dead in Antigua, Colombia. 14th of February, 18,000 plus dairy cows dead due to blizzard in Washington State. I remember I saw that one on a very obscure news report. 14th of February, Colombia, 31,000 dead cows. I saw this one, 12th of February, thousands of dead cuttlefish wash up on a beach in Chile. It actually turned out to be several tons of cuttlefish because there was a bunch still out in the water that hadn't washed up yet. 9th of February, 300,000 cattle dead in Queensland, Australia. 9th of February, 100 tons of fish in Brazil. 7th of February, 15,000 pigs in Japan. 20,000 seabirds in the Netherlands. It just keeps going all the way back to the beginning of the year, guys. Just keeps going. Penguins, hundreds of dead penguins. 100,000 chickens in Uruguay. 2,000 plus bats in Australia. Hundreds of thousands of fish in Darling River, Australia. 90 wild horses dead in Alice Springs on the 24th of January. 22nd of January, 900,000 pigs in China. Yeah, we're done with that. Just keep on going on that one. All right, peace plan news. Since we're going to come from that one, let's go to another one that we're dealing with right now. For one Palestinian American, Trump isn't hair-raising. Palestinians want to discuss the U.S. peace plan with Europe, PAFM says. Trump envoy says U.S. peace plan won't involve confederation with Jordan. U.S. slaps new sanctions on Hezbollah-linked businessmen. You know Hezbollah is being funded by a lot of rich people. In apparent dismissal of two-state solution, Kushner says past efforts failed. PM's lawyers mulling high court petition if AG refuses to delay hearing report. At Arab League, Abbas excuses Netanyahu of not believing in peace. French envoy to U.S. Trump plan, very close to what Israel wants, 99% doomed. Trump official unhelpful to use two-state solution technology in peace talks. U.S. envoy denies reports. This is going to be a long video. U.S. envoy denies reports peace plan includes giving Palestinians part of Sinai, which we now know. That was on April 19th. We do know that Trump said there will be no two-state solution offered in the peace plan. However, there is an opening in the peace plan for Israel to do their own two-state solution if they want to. Trump envoy pans new Palestinian prime minister for prejudging the peace plan. In other words, he run him over the coals. Trump peace plan to be unveiled after Ramadan in early June. That's what I was thinking. It wasn't K, it was R. That was from Kushner. So I can keep going. There's tons more. Former European leaders urge EU to reject Trump plan if no Palestinian state is presented. Well, they already know there's not going to be a Palestinian state. They said it. And I'm going to end on this note right here. Because a lot of people, I had gotten a conversation with a sister, great sister. She didn't know about what a lot of the things that were going on. We talked about it, and I brought a lot to her attention. And a lot of people don't realize what's going on around the world as far as Christians go, especially when it comes to Christian persecution. So I got the numbers. And this is a 2019 World Watch List. 245 million. In the top 50 World Watch List countries alone, 245 million Christians in the world experience high levels of persecution for their choice to follow Christ. 1 in 9 Christians worldwide experience high levels of persecution. This is as of this year. 14,000, the rise in the number of Christians in the top 50 countries on the 2019 World Watch List who experienced high levels of persecution from the 2018 reporting period to 2019's. In the 2018 reporting period, I think the last reporting period was November, I think, or October. 4,136 Christians killed for faith-related reasons in the top 50 countries. 2,625 Christians detained without trial, arrested, sentenced, and imprisoned in the top 50 countries. 1,266 churches or Christian buildings attacked in the top 50 countries. 7 out of 9. In 7 of the countries in the world's top watch list of 50 countries. No, this is the world's watch list top 10. So in 7 of those 10 countries, the primary cause of persecution is Islamic oppression. Countries scoring in the extreme level for their persecution of Christians. 5 years ago, North Korea was the only one. Consecutive years, North Korea has ranked number 1 as the world's most dangerous place for Christians. The consecutive years North Korea has ranked number 1 as the world's most dangerous place for Christians, 18 years in a row. Every month, 105 churches are attacked, burned, or vandalized in the top 50 countries. Every day, 11 Christians killed every day for their faith in the top 50 countries. By continent, 1 out of 6 Christians in Africa experience high levels of persecution. 1 out of 3 Christians in Asia experience high levels of persecution. And 1 out of 21 Christians in South America alone who experience high levels of persecution. And that's all they got on that one. Now this is Open Doors. You can go on Open Doors. They do real-time reporting based on missionary reports, government reports, and they get a bunch of information and collate it all down to verify what's true and what isn't true. And I had done a video, I think 2 months ago, that had shown a lot of that stuff and gave you a lot of the numbers, the deeper numbers on what had happened over the last few years and how it has skyrocketed, especially the last 4 months. It's gotten very bad. So that's all I got for updates. I wanted to give you guys, because I don't put out a lot of the new stuff, I wanted to give you guys a good with lots of detail and lots of stuff pertaining to right now what we're seeing this year. We're only 4 months in, almost 5, and things are shaping up for us to double and sometimes triple, in some cases, the numbers of all these prophetic events and all these things happening from 2017 and 2018. 2019 is going to be a banner year for death, destruction, earthquakes, volcanoes, governments, Christians being persecuted and killed, Jews being persecuted and killed. American colleges right now are holding anti-Semitic and anti-Semite or anti-Jew meetings and shows and stuff like that and teachings within the borders of our country. And they're openly promoting it. They're not even trying to hide it. So, yeah, the situation is getting bad, and it's going downhill real quick. But the good cheer and the good news about this is, even though it's terrible, the good news is we know anyone in Christ goes to Christ after death. To live is good, to die is gain. The apostles already talked about that. And we know that all of these things must happen. Jesus said, don't be upset, don't be sad. All these must happen for the final redemption to come for all those who are with him. So get saved if you're not saved. Stay in Christ. Keep your eyes on him. Don't be disheartened. Don't be sad. All these things must happen. Even nature, I've shared this scripture. There's several scriptures in there. Even nature is anticipating and waiting for the redemption of God's people, because nature knows that nature will be redeemed too. God loves all of his creation. He created it for a reason, not to kill it, but now to save it. And that includes us. So be watchful, keep your eyes on the Lord, stay in prayer, stay humble, stay convicted. That way you keep yourself in check, and just keep reading and love everybody. Anybody out there throwing all that hate, I'm telling you, it's working really good now, because I'm hitting some of these people hating in these comments. I'm throwing love at them, and it's working. It's turning them away. Stay strong, Christians. We got a little bit more of battle ahead of us, and then our redemption, and then we don't have to fight no more. Love you guys. I bless y'all in Jesus' name. Pray this video blesses you, and I'll see y'all in the next one.